Entertainment Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episode 7, and my thoughts on this episode. It was not a good episode. We have broke the trend now with Strange New Worlds. We were getting good episode, bad episode, good episode, bad episode. Now we've gotten two bad episodes in a row. Now, was this the worst episode I've ever seen of Strange New Worlds? No. Was it completely terrible? Not really. My main problem with this episode is mainly how it's filmed, mainly how it is shown. This style of episode is the one style I fucking hate, especially in sci-fi shows. Babylon 5 used to do this a bit, and I hated those fucking episodes. Look, I get it. You're trying to bring in a bit of realism into a sci-fi episode, but I don't watch sci-fi for realism. I watch sci-fi for space battles, alien races, and some fucking entertaining storylines. I'm not here for realism. If I want realism, I'll actually go and watch a documentary or I'll watch the news. Okay, I don't want realism when I'm watching my sci-fi show. So, yeah. We also had a stupid line from Spock in this episode. Yes, he wasn't really in this episode, but the one stupid line just, again, shows Spock to be this emotional bitch. And I just don't need to see that from Spock. I really don't. The story felt stupid. It's something I don't think Spock would have ever done to himself. But again, this is Kurtzman Trek. I also didn't watch his series of Discovery, so I don't know. Maybe he's a fucked up cunt. But it just destroys his character even more. And I don't know why they need to do that with him. Just another stupid fucking line that I think could have been taken out of this episode. And you do no damage to the episode. None at all. Main story, other than the way it's presented, it was okay. But again, the problems with this story, or at least what they were going on about when they're introducing, I think, a new race, is they keep mentioning the Klingon Federation War. And for me, that is just something I don't need to ever hear about because of how badly Kurtzman Trek dealt with that war. I mean, wouldn't it have been great to have gotten a series set in the Klingon Starfleet War where we could have seen how the war progressed, seen how the war took its toll on the Federation? That would have been an interesting show to make. Oh wait, they did that, Discovery, and they did a piss poor job of it. Again, I hate the Starfleet Klingon War because it was just so fucking mishandled, so many mistakes, and bringing it up, it just doesn't do it for me. I don't consider any of this canon. I still don't. But again, it just doesn't hit like it should. Like, that's an important war that Kurtzman Trek just absolutely destroyed. They absolutely did. But yeah, I guess the story was okay, other than, the setting it's in, how they showed the episode. Listen, I'm going to talk a lot about how this episode was presented because that's the main problem with this episode. It was a dumb way to present the episode. This should have just been a normal episode. Okay, that's what they should have done. I don't need this new style bullshit. Or at least this style which they do in other sci-fi shows. It's just dumb. It is just dumb. But yeah, not really much good in this episode. I like the story. Again, if it hadn't been set like it was in this episode, this could have been an okay episode. I was kind of interested in the weapon that they were talking about. I was kind of interested to find out a little bit more about this other race that had apparently helped the Klingons in the war. That would have been more interesting to see. That would have been an interesting thing to have a bit of a conflict with Ortiz, who does have a lot of experience during the Klingon Federation War. But we didn't really go into that because, again, how this episode was shown, how this episode is presented, is just a big problem of this episode. But yeah, other than all that, not really much happened. I'm not really going to watch this episode ever again. Yeah, dumb episode. Again, it's not the worst episode I've ever seen of Strange New Worlds. There are some woke points in this episode, unfortunately. Yes, colonizer was frequently used in this episode to insult the Federation with this stupid journalist. Yeah, I don't think you can really call the Federation an empire or colonizer when people are asking to join the fucking thing, which is just ridiculous. So yeah, that was a ridiculous part of the episode as well, and another reason I'm not going to watch an episode like this. Again, I think I've heard the word colonizer last ever heard in my lifetime. It's just insane how much that word just gets used nowadays. It's ridiculous. So it's a word I probably would have avoided, especially in a sci-fi show. And with like recent stories coming out now about studios trying to not go completely woke, this would be something I would avoid if I were the writers in Strange New Worlds. But other than that, what would I give this episode out of 10? A 4 out of 10, I guess. I mean, I did enjoy the weapon that they introduced in this episode. I thought that was interesting. I would like to have heard more about it. I would have liked to have dived in a lot more about how this weapon is used and all that stuff. Again, the main problem is just how this episode is presented. That's why it loses a lot of points for me. So yeah, 4 out of 10. Let's get to spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So, this episode is presented as a documentary into Starfleet. Ortigue's brother is the journalist who's, been assigned by some news channel. Another reason I don't like how this episode is presented is humans shouldn't have televisions anymore. Like, we evolved. I know I keep bringing up this episode from Voyager, but when Paris gets a fucking television from B'Elanna, he's genuinely surprised. And even B'Elanna doesn't really get the whole, television nonsense. And it's like, yeah, because they are an evolved species. They moved away from this shit. And with Kurtzman Trek, it's just like, no, humanity hasn't evolved. It's just the same as it was today. We still talk about racism. We still talk about ridiculous shit. We still have TV shows. I'm surprised we haven't gone influencer episode yet. Hey, I'm on TikTok and I'm now on Starship Enterprise. Like, I feel like we're going to get that episode one day with Kurtzman Trek. Like, that's how fucking ridiculous this episode is going to... An episode of Star Trek is just going to become a TikToker on the Enterprise. Like, oh my god. I know it's a little thing. I know some people will probably say get over it, but come on. Star Trek is supposed to be the evolution of humanity to the point we aren't racist anymore. We ain't stupid anymore. We don't do what we do now. We don't smoke. We don't eat stupid foods. We don't go to war over stupid things. We're a scientific-based society that has moved on to become better. That's what Star Trek used to be about. Now it's not about that. Now it's about some arsehole having feelings and emotions every goddamn second, and we having relationship problems that we need to have multiple fucking episodes talking about. I'm looking at you, fucking Spark and Christine, and that shit's still happening. Fucking hell. La'an doesn't see... Oh, I'm not going into that. That's not what this episode is about. But anyway... So yeah, the episode is a documentary on Starfleet. Is Starfleet an empire, or is it a colonizer, or is it just this nice group of people? Because that's what Ortigue's brother is there to film for. He's doing some sort of ridiculous empire piece on on Starfleet. He talks a lot about how Starfleet has become more of a military, how they are using a lot of weapons, how Starfleet has declassified all this information so Starfleet can show they have nothing to hide. Listen, Starfleet just came out of a bad war with the Klingons. The Klingons probably would have won if not for that stupid fucking episode Discovery. Oh god, every time I think about the Starfleet Klingon Civil War, it just pisses me off because of how bad they handled it. But anyway, yeah. So they just came out of a war. Of course Starfleet would have a lot of weapons on their ships. They nearly got defeated by the Klingons. They nearly lost. So yes, a lot of Federation ships are going to have rifles, pistols, phasers. Going to have a lot of a lot of torpedoes on it because again, they just came out of a war. It's now a cold war between them and the Klingons. Yes, journalist, there's going to be weapons on ships. And so, yeah, the Enterprise has been sent on a mission that's top secret because in a meeting they have, Pike tells his crew the majority of the information that he needs to tell them is classified. But the main mission is to help a race called, what are they called again? Lutani have asked the Federation for help getting a weapon so that they can defeat their enemy that's apparently kicking their ass. And the Lutani have asked the Federation to help them retrieve a weapon that can help them win the war. Now, the enemy is never mentioned. I suspect it might be the Klingons, because the Lutani used to be the Klingons' close ally, because Ortiz brings up the fact the Lutani used to attack the Federation's supply runs, supply fleets, used to harass Federation ships in the war between the Federation and the Klingons. So Ortiz is not exactly comfortable with helping the Lutani. But Pike says this is the Federation's orders. We're trying to build bridges so that if there is any other kind of situation with the Klingons, maybe they can rely on the Lutani not to help the Klingons if there is ever a war between the Federation and Klingons again. Which makes sense. But again, I feel nothing towards them mentioning the Klingon Federation war because, again, they never explained it enough. They didn't show us enough. Like, I really wish that they would go back and just do a series. It doesn't even have to be multiple series. Just one fucking series showing the damn war between the Klingons and the Federation. An actual fucking, diving into that war. Showing the bad side. Showing the good side. Like what they should have done with Discovery, but do it right. And maybe I'd have some fucking investment in this fucking episode. Or at least care about this fucking new alien species. But again, I don't. So, it's hard for me to care. But I am interested in the weapon that the Federation has been sent to retrieve. So they are being sent to this planet that holds these weapons, because apparently this weapon is alive. It's a creature that can turn into some sort of powerful electrical generator that can destroy ships quick. And that's what the Lutani are there to grab. The Federation have been sent there to give them a hand with grabbing the creature, because the Lutani need to activate the creature through some special sort of means, because they sent a special ship to do this. And they need someone to drag the creature to where they need to deploy it to help them in their war against this other race that they're fighting. Which again, I suspect is the Klingons. But some of the crew kind of are a bit hesitant on this, not just because it's the Lutani who are allied with the Klingons, but with the fact the weapon is a creature. Because does this creature consent to this kind of use of itself? What are the implications to Starfleet? You also get the journalists asking the same questions, like, why is Starfleet helping a foreign group of people in a war that the Federation has nothing to do with this? Is this to try to attract the Lutani into joining the Federation, or is this the Federation trying to grab a new weapon? This journalist, Ortigue's brother, is kind of showing that he does have an agenda now. He does have a massive problem with the Federation, who he considers to be a military, not a science fleet. I mean, yeah, you can kind of say that, but come on, kid. Like, the ship is not just a military ship. Like, it is a military ship. Like, the Enterprise has weapons. Like, it does have phasers and torpedo bays and all that shit. But it is a science vessel. That's why they have science departments on it. That's why they have scanners on the ship, you know. That's why they go investigate new worlds. It's not just a military vessel. It is a science vessel as well. And I do like the fact that Uhura was kind of that, you know, other side of the coin, you know, bouncing off of him, like saying, yes, Starfleet has weapons. Starfleet does fight other races, but that's not their main job. Their main job is a science vessel. Their main job is to explore the universe, but the universe is pretty dangerous. I did like the fact they did bring up the line from J.J. Abrams' Star Trek about, you know, most of the galaxy just wants to kill you if you don't have a weapon or something. I know that's not specifically what the line was, but it was a line from J.J. Trek. I'm not a fan of J.J. Trek, I do enjoy that line from McCoy from the first J.J. movie. It was kind of like not a badass, but it was kind of an interesting line for him to say. Anyway, so he has a debate with Uhura about that, but Uhura kind of brings up, you know, Starfleet is there to protect people, but also to investigate stuff. And you do need weapons for that. You also get Ortigue's brother interviewing Ortigue's about, you know, Starfleet, and she is just not interested in talking about any of this because you do kind of see in this episode she is still dealing with PTSD, but not as much, which I am getting kind of annoyed now. I think we've only got like 3 episodes left. I want to see that storyline with Ortiz kind of either move forward or end it, because right now she just seems to be doing nothing other than just piloting the ship. She seems to have just cured her PTSD, and I don't like that. I want to see an ending to that story. Strange New World writers, because that's an interesting story. To see someone going through PTSD when you've known people that have dealt with PTSD, it's a good thing to kind of bring up. If you want to talk politics, yes, PTSD is a major fucking thing in military circles, which we don't talk about enough. And that would be good to put into Star Trek, because that is something that does kill people. So, I want to see them do something with that. And not just throw it to the, you know, next season. Sort it now. Go through it now. Show Ortigue's dealing with it now, not later. Because I have a massive feeling they're just going to forget about this next season, which is going to piss me the fuck off. So, they get to the planet. They activate the creature. Well, the Lutani activate the creature, and the creature then rises up, but then another Lutani ship comes in, attacks the creature, or tries to free the creature from some sort of device the Lutani have put on it, which works, but the creature attacks the Lutani ship that attacked it, and damages the ship. One of the crewmen is seriously hurt by the attack on the ship. They bring it on the Enterprise, and the Lutani tells the the Enterprise crew, don't let my people use the weapon. So she must be some sort of activist that's decided to take a stand for this creature, and she died because of it. But you can kind of respect, because what we find out about this creature later, you kind of see why she did this, and yeah, you would kind of be on the side, because this creature is not what it seems. So the Lutani dies. Pike contacts Starfleet to kind of ask what do they do, because of the whole loss of control of the creature that's just moving on its own now. Do they try to capture it? Do they try to still move it to the position the Lutani have asked for, or do they just abandon the mission, or do they try to capture the creature and take it back to Starfleet so they can create a weapon out of it? And the Federation just say, continue the mission, help the Lutani get the weapon to where it needs to go, You can see Pike is not exactly happy with this, but he's going to do as he's told. You then get a couple of interviews with the journalists, with the crewmen, talking about their jobs and what they like and dislike about Starfleet. He asks Pike, has he ever refused an order? And he says, no comment, or that's classified. Blah, 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 blah. We then get to the point where Pike says they need to capture the creature to help them move it to the position they need to. He says they need to put some sort of lasso around it, because again, if you don't remember, Pike is a cowboy when he's back on Earth. So yeah, that was apparently fun to bring up. I honestly don't give a shit. But yeah, so they try to put a lasso around the creature, but that doesn't seem to work. Then Spock realizes he can talk to the creature with his mind meld shit. Because, the Vulcans are good at that stuff. But it is dangerous because of how powerful the creature is. It can cause a massive head trauma to Spock, into his mind, and kill him. And Christine is very worried about that and doesn't want him to take the risk. But Spock says he needs to do this to help the creature, or at least help the mission to get the creature to where it needs to go. And so Pike okays the mission. They grab a shuttle. Oh, I should mention what they said about Spock in this episode that pissed me off. Apparently Spock used to cut himself. No word of a fucking lie. Apparently Spock used to cut himself because somebody didn't want to play with him when he was a kid, because he was half human, and he decided to go out to a desert, found a cave, and then tried to cut the human part of himself out. This is fucking ridiculous. I don't need to know this about Spock. I don't believe the real Spock would ever have done that to himself. It would be illogical for a person to try to cut themselves to get a part of them cut. It's just ridiculous. We're still going down this whole fucking Spock is the most emotional fucking Vulcan we've ever seen. It's like, shut the fuck up. How the fuck did Spock be this fucking emotional love cut motherfucker in this series, but when we get to the original series, he seems to be this fucking professional, emotionally controlled, fantastic Starfleet officer. It's like, what the fuck? They still haven't explained how Spock's going to turn into that character, by the way, because we're still dealing with this shit, with Spock being over emotional bullshit. It's just fucking hell. I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. But anyway, so yeah, Spock, Christine, and Uhura head onto a shuttle to go try to talk to the creature. Spock does make a connection with the creature, but the creature kind of sees it as an attack, attacks the shuttle, puts Christine in the hospital because she gets hit by a camera from the documentary that's being filmed, and Spock's kind of knocked out because the creature kind of overwhelmed his mind, but he's okay. But they can't use Spock again, so Uhura volunteers to talk to the creature, and Pike tries to deny that request and says she doesn't want to put more people in danger, but Uhura kind of presses the issue and says, you're not forcing her to do this, she is volunteering to do this, and so Pike agrees, but they're going to have to use the entire Enterprise to do this, not a shuttle, so there's more safety for Uhura. So they stick all the same crap on Uhura's head as it did Spock to make the connection more, not professional, more, well, to make it easier for Uhura to connect with the creature through her mind. So whilst this is all happening, the Lutani, a Lutani battleship arrives, tries to intervene with the Federation, trying to talk to the creature, because they don't want them talking to the creature. They just want them to escort the creature to the war zone so that they can win the war, apparently. But whilst Uhura's making the connection, they find out that this creature is intelligent. It's not just a weapon. It's an intelligent creature that does not like the fact it's being used as a weapon. Now, this is an interesting story at this point. I'm like, whoa. You're telling me this creature is actually intelligent and knows that it's been turned into a weapon and knows it's been sent on a mission to kill people? it's not comfortable with that. It doesn't want that. It doesn't want to be used as a weapon. That's a fucking interesting story. Why we couldn't have just had a normal episode where we could have dived in more about that, I don't know. But yeah, I like that part of the episode because again, I'm interested in alien shit. This is fucking interesting to me. So Uhura makes a connection, tells Pike that this creature does not want to be used as a weapon and doesn't want its children to be used as weapons either. It wants help. It wants the Federation to step in and stop the Lutani from using any more of them as weapons. They don't want that anymore. So Pike's now in a shit position because now he has to do one or two things. One, force this creature to be a weapon and kill people, or two, tell the Lutani to go fuck themselves and destroy the weapon and tell them they can't use their special weapons anymore, which could start a war between the Lutani and the Federation, which is something Pike doesn't really want to do, but he knows that the right thing to do is to respect what the creature wants, and so he agrees to help the creature kill itself by throwing it into a sun. The Lutani tried to intervene and force the Federation to do what they agreed, but Pike threatens them and says, yeah, you try that and you'll start a war between the Federation and yourselves, and you don't want the Federation to be your enemy. So the Lutani back off. The creature... Oh, I should talk about... There was a scene, a couple of scenes ago, where Uhura kind of figured out Ortiga's brother had an agenda with his documentary, which was to show the bad side of the Federation, to call them colonizers and an evil empire. But then there's a scene where Uhura figures that out and tells Ortiga's brother, you're not mad at the Federation, you're mad at the fact your sister is a part of the Federation and that she nearly died because of the Gorn. And he kind of admits to that, like, yes, I don't agree with the Federation being a military. My sister is here and she could have died. And you kind of see that, yeah, this documentary is to be kind of an attack on the Federation to, what he thinks, free his sister from the Federation so that she doesn't put herself into any more danger. But Ortiga tells her brother, look, this is a family ship. These are my family, these are my people. They're not forcing me to be here. I understand that the job is a risk, but it's what I want to do. Yes, she does feel unsafe since the Gorn incident, but she still wants to do her job and she still wants to do her duty. And you can respect that, especially somebody who is going through PTSD, which again, they do kind of show in this episode, but I think there should be just one full episode where we explore that. So, as the Lutani back off, the Enterprise helps the creature move towards the sun, and then the creature explodes in the sun, and then the Federation back off and tell the Lutani they can't use that planet anymore for the weapons, and the episode ends with the documentary pretty much saying that yes, the Federation is a military, but it's also a family. They are there to protect people, not to hurt people. They're there to do a job that people want them to do. And that's how the episode ends, with them having a celebration about the success of the mission and how they were able to free an alien species from another alien species. And that's how the episode ends. At least I think they freed that species. They didn't really go into full detail about that, but I think they did. But yeah, that's how the episode ends. And yeah. I don't like documentary style sci-fi episodes. I think they're shit. I think you lose a lot in the storytelling in the episode. You get a lot of these stupid scenes where the fake journalist crew have to hide behind a corner trying to find out information, where you could just do a fucking normal episode where they tell us the information that we need to know. And yeah, I hate these episodes. I hated them in Babylon 5, I hate them in Star Trek. I get that they want to show this as kind of realistic, you know, they have documentaries and journalists being allowed on starships. I don't want that in Star Trek. I want to enjoy an episode of sci-fi. If I want to see realism, I'll watch a real documentary or I'll watch the news. Certain news, let's be honest these days. But yeah, I don't like these types of episodes. I liked the creature in this story. I love the fact that we found out it was intelligent, so intelligent that it refused to be a weapon of war, which is fucking fantastic. If you could do those, listen, this is what's great about Star Trek. To show a weapon having feelings, emotions, and saying it doesn't want to hurt people, that's interesting. And if Star Trek has just been that from the beginning, if Kurtzman didn't try to turn it into some woke, bullshit, agenda-driven pile of crap, Star Trek might be in a better position right now. But unfortunately, they didn't do that, and yeah, we are where we are. So yeah, 4 out of 10. Not a good episode. Did have potential if it had just been a normal episode, but we got what we got. So yeah, 4 out of 10. That's the end of my video. If you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. And if you have a comment, leave it below and I'll try to get back to it. Entertainment Soldier.